Regional television and radio group Southern Cross Media has posted a full-year loss of almost $83 million. But Chief Executive Reece Holloran says he's cautiously optimistic for the future, with the company recently dumping its US newspaper assets and returning to its core business of TV and radio. Emily Stewart reports.
The advertising budget is often the first to be slashed during difficult times, and this has affected Southern Cross Media Group's revenues from both television and radio, particularly in the first half of the 2009-2010 financial year. But Chief Executive Reece Holloran says operating conditions are improving as companies recover from the global financial crisis.
In the last 6 months, we have seen a significant improvement in advertising conditions. I think coupled with a really good control on expenses has given us a pretty good result this year.
It's been a busy year for Southern Cross. It's refinanced, cut ties with former manager Macquarie Group and divested its poor-performing US newspaper assets. Net loss for the period was down slightly on last year to almost $83 million. But the poor performance was due to a $103 million loss from the discontinued American Consolidated Media operations. And when looking solely at the company's core business, its Australian TV and radio operations, a profit of almost $20 million was recorded, up from $19 million last year.
This result, in some respects, represents a watershed between the old structure, and I think going forward, we should expect to see a much tidier, simplified business structure focused around Australian radio and regional television.
Depending on who wins power in the federal election, Southern Cross could be swept up in a changing broadcasting landscape. Currently, a single broadcaster is prevented from covering more than 75% of the audience, a rule aimed at maintaining media diversity and giving regional media some independence from metropolitan broadcasters. Labor had indicated if it comes to power it would scrap the rules, which would leave the group open as a takeover target.
If those audience reach rules do go through, then presumably there's nothing in terms of the legislation stopping another TV broadcaster acquiring Southern Cross Media.
Chief Financial Officer Steve Kelly says with the ongoing political uncertainty, anything could happen.
Particularly with the independence coming from regional Australia, it's certainly a little less certain as to what's going to happen.
Southern Cross is affiliated with Network 10 and airs some of its programs, including the top-rating MasterChef. The group says it only became aware of the network's new channel, called 11, shortly before it was announced to the public last week. The group will now hold talks with the network to discuss the new channel. Chief Executive Reece Holloran says the costs associated with airing the channel could be up to $13 million. And he says they'll only agree to broadcast it if the audience levels will be large.